on with yours truly, Hales. I want to say thank you to everyone who's reached out to me. For those of you who've shared my video, who have subscribed, liked my video, even watched my video, thank you to you guys because the support is overwhelming and I appreciate it so much. I hope you're ready for some more dysfunction because we have a jam-packed episode of it. So let's just dive right into the dysfunction, shall we? Confession 2. Breaking news. This just in. The old Hali is dead. Oh man, that was a loaded statement. It was highly dramatic. I am so sorry, but it gets the point across, so let's just get right to it. I would say probably about 2 years ago was when I first heard the comment of, wow, Hali, you've changed a lot. You don't really seem like the old you. Ooh, that used to like really take me out by the knees, let me tell you. I was devastated when I heard that from other people. And I was really confused. I'm like, what do you mean that I'm not the same person that I used to be? I am still a full-blown psychopath. Like, clearly I'm making a YouTube channel for no apparent reason other than to get my word out. Clearly I'm still crazy and I'm outgoing and I'm very high energy. That has not changed. So what do you mean exactly that I'm not the old self? This was like a real brain teaser. I could not figure this one out for the life of me. And it was coming from people who had been in my life, I'd say like back in high school, back in childhood, people who've known me for a super long time. They're like, you just seem different. Sometimes when people said that to me, they meant it in a really good way. Like, oh, like you just seem different. You seem happy. You seem good. Other people were like, no, like you're different. I would walk around and I could not, for the life of me, figure out what do they mean? Like, what? I don't understand what you mean. I'm different. And nobody seemed to be able to explain it to me. The more I sat with it and I thought about it, the more I began to see what people meant. And it came more so from the negativity I was getting from people like, wow, Hali, like you're different. You're not the same girl that we used to hang out with, you know, whatever. Let me just put this out there. My whole life, I mean, from the time that I was little until I'd say about 21 when this all started coming to the surface, I was someone who was a people pleaser. I mean, we hear about them all the time, but when I say I was a people pleaser, I was a people pleaser. I did anything and everything in order for people to like me, or for people to be happy with me, or for people to just be like, wow, Hali, like you are such a good person. I was literally morphing who I was into what everyone needed to be. And the saddest part was, if you asked me 3 years ago who I was as a person, I couldn't tell you because I had no idea who I was. I was whatever anyone needed me to be. I was a friend, I was a significant other, I was an employee, I was a cleaner, like I was literally anything someone needed me to be at that time. The old me really had no true sense of self. Like I could not tell you something that I strongly believed in, an opinion I had, feelings I had. I couldn't tell you what it is that I was passionate about because I didn't know that. I had zero idea. I went with whatever was popular at the time, with whoever I was hanging out with, and whatever someone told me I needed to do at that time. I was kind of like a puppet. Like I was almost like I was a little puppet that people do like the ventriloquy with. Yeah, like that was me. I was whatever anyone wanted me to be. Whoever was my puppet master at that time or that day, you got me as puppet. The reason why I'm making this into an episode is because not only was this something huge that I went through and it was a very big transformation, but it's something I see on the daily basis. I said in my last video, I'm a teacher and I see a lot of my students who go through this. A lot of my friends have gone through this. People in my family have gone through this. There's so many people in my life who are going through this sense of finding themselves and becoming a new person, and it's so different than who they were that it's uncomfortable for them, or it's uncomfortable for the people around them. So this confession is to let you know that this is a good thing. Like this is something that is going to completely break your world open and transform it into something beautiful. So just stick with me for the next couple of minutes and I will explain the whole thing. Like I said, I was a huge people pleaser. Anything and everything people wanted me to do for them to like me, I did it. Whether it was giving up my free time to go help them or changing my physical appearance and my personality for them to think I was cooler. For any of those tuning into this who know me, we know I'm not cool, but old Hali did anything in her power to say she was cool. That included going out with her friends when she didn't really want to go out. That included liking sports teams or social events that I didn't really care for. talking badly about people that I had no problem with, dressing a certain way in order to get guys' attention or to be in trend or in season. I mean, seriously, who can't wear white pants after Labor Day? I love white pants. I want to wear them in October. Like, huh? I could tell a million stories of the old Hali conforming herself into what anyone needed her to be, but there's one story in particular that I feel just really hits the nail on the head for this one. For this story, all you're going to need is your ears, maybe some popcorn, and, you know, buckle right up, because it's just, you're gonna listen to it and be like, dude, what was wrong with you? Let me just set the scene for y'all, okay? So at this point in my life, I was a senior in college, I was freshly out of a relationship, and like I said in my last video, I didn't know what I was doing, and I thought the thing that you needed most in life was a boyfriend. Now, I didn't just want any boyfriend, alright? I wanted a boyfriend that people were gonna look at us together and be like, wow, that's a power couple. So naturally, I went after the most popular guy at St. Rose, who was extremely well known, and who was very, very much so out of my league at the time. So this guy and I ran in very similar social circles. We knew very much so who each other was. We just didn't talk. And for those of you who are in my generation and know what my generation of dating looks like, it looks like you guys just constantly walking around looking at each other, texting each other every now and then, never talking in person. That is a no-no. That is taboo. You do not talk in person. So I couldn't go up and start up a conversation with this boy because I'd look weird. That's not the cool thing to do. He wouldn't like me. So thankfully, I had the most amazing group of girls surrounding me during this time, and one of them said, you know what, Hills? I saw him on Tinder. You should go make a Tinder to go match with him. So now, if you guessed that I made a Tinder to match with this boy, you are absolutely 1,000% correct, because guess what? Your girl was swiping up a storm in order to find this boy so she can date them and they can have the love story and they'd both be well liked and well known around campus. No, but seriously, that's really what I did, and it was absolutely pathetic looking back on it, but let's just keep going because I'm sure you're already too invested. I ended up matching with this boy after like 2 weeks. We talked, exchanged snaps, whatever. Super great guy. He was so nice, not to mention he was super cute, but I knew that he liked a certain type of girl. I knew that he liked girls with darker hair. Clearly my hair is like a blondish color. He liked girls who were more athletic and did sports on campus. I did cheer. I don't really think that constituted though as a sport. He liked girls who were into sports in general, and I think were more shy. Clearly, I'm not shy. Regardless, though, I knew that's what he wanted in a girl, and at that time, I knew 0% about who I was as a person, and about 70% of what he liked in a girl, so I became what he wanted. No, seriously, I dyed my hair jet black. I learned everything I could about every type of sport. I mean, I'm talking like golf. I learned about golf and I learned about tennis. Just in case we ever had a conversation in person, which was very rare, I knew what I was talking about. So like I said, I was doing cheer, so I tried to maybe like bump it up a little bit, go to gymnastics, be seen at the gym, walk around campus like I was super athletic. I tried becoming friends with the girls that he would hang out with who were super athletic. They didn't want to be my friend. It's fine. It's fine. Point is, I tried morphing into what it was that he liked, or his type at the time, because that's who the old Hali was. Anything to get that like. It was like so mortifying to the point where I would literally post pictures with captions on it that I thought he might find funny, or I would literally post a picture to grab his attention in order for him to like it. No worries, he never liked it. It's fine. It's fine. Now, not only did I completely change my physical, I also changed my personality. When I would see him out in social events, and let me tell you, I put myself out wherever he was so he would see me, I would pretend to act shy or pretend to act laid back. And I mean, I am a little laid back, but I'm definitely like a lot more crazy. Whatever it was for him to notice me, I did that. Essentially, I changed who I was in order to match what he wanted, and I bet you could already guess the ending to this Tinderella story, but let's just keep going, shall we? So, we ended up talking, we ended up hanging out once, we always saw each other out, but homeboy didn't like me, he just wasn't interested. I was devastated. If anyone watching this who knows exactly who I'm talking about and the exact situation I'm talking about is probably dying laughing because they're like, yeah, Haley was unwell. Like, I was not okay. I was in bed crying over this boy who I didn't really know, mind you. I was posting like anything and everything to get his attention in order for him to be like, oh God, like maybe I should give Haley a shot. I was putting myself out there times 10 in order to get his attention. Nothing was working. He didn't like me. What was I going to do? So that didn't sit well with me. I did not like the fact that someone I was going after didn't like me, because so far in my life, whether it was a guy that I liked or friends that I wanted to be friends with, as long as I changed who I was, they liked me back. That's all I had to do. I just had to change who I was. That's it. So simple. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It took a long time for me to pull myself out of my unwell stage. It took a lot of my friends talking to me, lecturing me, breaking things down to me, really getting it through my thick skull that it just wasn't gonna work out with this boy, that I finally was like, okay, you know what? I just don't think it's gonna work. My friends were probably looking at me like I had 10 heads, like, yeah girl, we know, we've seen this 2 years now coming. Tinderella is just never gonna be for you. The senior year boy situation was pretty much the last straw. I was like, okay, clearly me changing myself wasn't going to have him like me. That was evident. And I didn't realize that right away, because if I did, I probably wouldn't have wasted 2 years chasing him. I need to figure out who it is that I am and who I want to be in order to attract the right person into my life. It was because of my friends that I started to reflect back on myself and be like, okay, what is it? Who am I? Like, what do I stand for? What am I passionate about? Who am I as a person? Like, how would I even describe myself? I could describe all of them with my eyes closed. I mean, I could literally pick them out of a crowd. They're so unique, they're so different. Whereas I was just blending into my surroundings. I was exactly who anyone ever wanted me to be, but I didn't become the person I wanted to be. Dun da da dun da da da! The new Haley was born. Now, when I say the new Haley was born, I did not by any means abandon the old Haley. She was fragile, she was unwell. She was mourning the loss of this boy she had been chasing for 2 years. We couldn't just leave her out for the wolves. Gosh, no, we had to take her along and help her. What I started doing was I started to look at who I wanted to become. Who am I deep down to the core? Who am I around my parents? Who am I around my brothers? Who am I around my friends who I consider family, where I don't feel like I have to pretend to be someone I'm not? What was I passionate about? What are my thoughts? What are my feelings? How do I act when I'm upset? How do I act when I'm happy? What is a genuine version of myself? When I strip it all down, when I stop pretending to be liked or to be fitting the social norms, who is it? Who am I? I ultimately found that I had a lot of the qualities and I knew a lot of those qualities. I just refused to show them around certain people because I was too scared of being too much or not enough, or they were gonna look at me like I had 3 heads. When I reflected, I started to journal a lot. I started to do a lot of meditation. I started to pay more attention to my surroundings and the people that I was the closest with to see, okay, what is it that I like about them that I also see within myself, and how do I act on it? So for example, I found that I was extremely outgoing. I mean, clearly, I'm here, aren't I? I had a pretty good sense of humor. I laugh at just about anything. Sometimes, every now and then, I could crack a joke and make people laugh. I was kind. I always wanted to do things for other people. I was very caring. I always care about how other people are doing and how they're feeling, how I can make them better. I mean, there's 100 things of who I am, but who was it that I wanted people to see me for? What is it when someone meets me for the first time? What do I want their impression to be of me? What do I want them walking away with? And those were the characteristics. I said I want them to think I'm outgoing, I'm funny, I'm kind, I'm caring. I want them to think of me in that way. So it's time to be my person. It's time for me to step into the light and be who I am. When I started to do that, I also realized that I was complaining a lot in my old self. I was finding everything and anything every day to complain about. Whether it was the weather, whether it was what I looked like, how someone else was acting, what someone else was doing. I complained so much. And as a society, we find that that's a way that we relate to one another. We find that that's a way that we come together when we're talking about someone, or when we're sharing a negative, or when we're playing that comparison game of who has it worse than I do, who has it better than I do. And that's just a way that we form relationships now. And for me, that just didn't fit who I really was. I found that when I was complaining about myself, all I was doing was just shoving myself down and making it look like I was worse than what I actually was, just so people could pity me, or so someone could say like, oh no, Haley, like, you don't look that bad, you look pretty cute today. Hello, validation, that's them showing me that they like me, anything to do that. I started to move from this negative mind space that I was in, and this constant wheel of, what can I do to get someone to like me? What can I do to get their validation? What can I do to get their acceptance? And I looked inward. I started to say, okay, who am I as a person? What do I want to do with my life? What's going to make me like me? Because guess what? Guess who's looking at me in my mirror at the end of the day? Certainly not the people I hang out with. It's me. Hello, it's me. So if I don't like who I am, how can anyone else like who I am? And if I'm not being genuine with myself, why would anyone else want to be genuine with me or want to hang out with me? It was about 2 years ago where I started this transformation, and it took a long time. I was really resistant to this. I did not want to change who I was because it was comfortable. I was comfortable just fading into the background or becoming or morphing into whatever and whoever other people wanted me to be. It was known. I knew what people's reactions were going to be. I wasn't rocking the boat. I wasn't making anyone upset. I had a lot of friends, but they didn't like me for me being me. They liked me when I fit into their bubble. I started to realize this more and more as I turned 22. I would have like sudden outbursts of a lot of energy because, hello, I'm wicked hyper. And the people that I was surrounding myself with were like, dude, are you okay? Like, can you not? You're being kind of annoying. That hurt my feelings. I was like, oh, okay, like I gotta tone myself down in order for them to like me. Or there were times where I'd go out and I'd be super positive and I'd be super happy. I'm like, oh my God, today's gonna be a great day. Like, look at all the great opportunities that we have in front of us. And the people I was surrounding myself with were like, hey, like, can you not? Like, it's way too hot out for us. My hair's turning humid. I don't like that I have to wear shorts where my fat, chunky legs hang out. Like, it was just constantly a negative every time I put out a positive, and it was so draining. That was the biggest thing. I was so drained hanging out with these people who didn't accept me for me, but wanted me to become this version of myself that I had been for so long. As a result, which you could probably guess, I ended up losing a lot of people in my life. I lost guys who were once interested in me because they liked how laid back I was and that I would just go along with whatever they wanted. I didn't respect myself and I gave them whatever they needed at the time. I lost a lot of friends because they didn't really care for me shining, or they didn't really care for me being myself and embracing who I was and what I'm passionate about. I don't know what it is that they didn't like, to be honest, because I didn't stick around long enough to find out, but I know that I lost a lot of people and they haven't come back, and it is what it is. Like I said in the beginning of this video, this is something that so many people are going through. This isn't just my journey. I see this every day. I see that once you become your genuine self and you start stepping out into your light and you start shining who you are through and through, people make you uncomfortable about it. They make you feel like you're doing something wrong, or they make you feel like you're less of a human being, or you're not being genuine, when really you are. That's the thing. Once we start becoming who we are on the inside, and that's a reflection of who we are on the outside, people who aren't ready to make that change yet kind of back away. They're not ready for that all at once. And I could attest to this. People were doing this when I was, 18, 19 years old, and I didn't want to be known with them because they were weird. They were the outcasts. They were the people that people would look at and judge and they didn't like. And I didn't want to be that person. I wanted that validation. I wanted people to like me. So I just followed the status quo and did what it was that everyone liked to do. If you're going through this and you're starting to notice how uncomfortable it is to become yourself, and that people who've been in your life forever are now starting to fall away, know it's for the best. Because once we embrace who we are and we become our new selves and we become genuine, the people who are meant to be in our lives will always be there. They're not going to go anywhere. I had a really great group of friends during the college boy time, and that helped me so much because it helped me step into who I wanted to be. These girls and the guys that I was surrounded with saw me for who I was and didn't let me put on the mask. They told me, they pretty much called me on my crap. They're like, dude, that's not who you are. Like, what are you talking about? Or why are you acting like that? We don't care if you try and say this, that, or the other thing to act cool. We know who you are on the inside and we like you just for that. So as I started to transform and as I started to step into who it was that I always knew I was, These people followed me. They didn't go anywhere. They continued to support me. They were all the ones who texted me last week about my video being so great. They're lifers. They're people who are meant to be in my life forever, and I know that because I'm now my genuine self. I'm now doing what it is that I'm passionate about and talking about the things that I'm passionate about, and they're still here. The killer for me is, especially in this day and age, we seem to feel like we can't express ourselves and our opinions and feelings without fear of repercussions from others, whether it's our friends or families or significant others. We hold that all inside of us, and that's who the old Haley was. I held everything inside of me because of fear that I was going to get judged, or I was going to get harassed, or people weren't going to like me. Even my most opposite friends, I mean, clearly I'm pretty extroverted, a lot of my friends are introverted. Just because we're opposite, and I mean, we have opposite belief systems, we have opposite philosophies on life, we have opposite lifestyles, they love me for who I am, and I love them for who they are. There's people out there. It could be one person who likes you for who you are. It could be 100 people who like you for who you are. There are people out there who are going to love you no matter what. If you are your genuine self, they're going to stay in your life forever because that's what they're meant to do. So when I say that the old Haley is dead, like she's dead, she's gone. The old me is dead and gone, dead and gone. No, for real, like I'm done. I'm done being the people pleaser. I'm done making myself into whatever I'm not in order to get people to like me, because clearly it wasn't working for me too well. Am I still a people pleaser to a certain extent? Absolutely. I always want to make sure people are happy. I will never get rid of that trait, but I don't put other people's happiness above my own, and that's the biggest point. That's what I started to lose a lot of friends over, and that's what I started to lose a lot of guys over, and just people in general who came into my life. As soon as they learned that I was putting myself first and I was putting my happiness first, they didn't really want to stick around anymore. And that's fine. I wish them well. I hope that they're doing great things in their lives, but I just don't need them in my life. If they can't love who I am on the inside, what kind of a friendship is that? Or what kind of a relationship is that? Maybe you're going through this right now. Maybe you're in the transitional period where you've moved from your old self to your new self, or maybe you've had thoughts about stepping into your new self and you're kind of scared to do it. My biggest piece of advice is just do it, because your life really starts to change once you do it. I mean, look at me. I'm on here shooting a YouTube page for whoever wants to see it and whoever wants to listen to my advice, because I've stepped into who I am. I'm fulfilling my passions. I'm living a life that I've always dreamed of because I'm more genuine to who I am and I'm more aligned to what it is that I want to do in my life. Make today the day that you take a step into your genuine self. If you've been your genuine self for all these years, kudos to you. I have probably looked up to you at one point or another. If you're like me and you kind of hid in the shadows of what everyone else wanted you to be for so long, consider this your sign to start stepping into yourself and be more genuine to who you are. I promise there are going to be people that come to you who love you for exactly who you are. I know I will be one. If you have no one else, I will definitely be that person for you. Now, with all of that being said, the old Haley's dead and gone. She's no longer here to morph into whoever and whatever people want her to be, but the new Haley's ready to embrace who she is. So if you want to embark on this journey with me, come on forth. You are welcome here with Miss Confession. That's all for this week, folks. Please let me know if you liked this video by liking and subscribing to my page and leaving me a comment. I look forward to reading through all of them and hearing from you guys what you thought of this week's episode. Stay tuned for another episode next Thursday where I will again expose myself on Miss Confession just for your entertainment. Bye, guys!